We're in O1 section fundamentals 10 R patch, and we've got 4 tests, but the important thing is in the modules that we have here, the variables o1.py that are linked to each of the tests. If we take in CMD, we can run this just to see what gets output. And if we look at the file, we can see we're just setting a class car, putting a class variable and printing that out. And because we're running it as main, we get the running module as main here, which we won't get if we import it. Going to variables O2, we come back up and go into tests O2, tab, just do V and run that. We will sort of see we're getting a different set of values. And if we look at variables O2, we can see we've added a class method now. We're printing out the cost of the car. We're getting the car.getCost, printing those out. We're seeing those 2 values here, as well as pyboxen, printing out the values in the box. Same as if we go to variables O3 now. Basically what we're going to be doing is adding a method, and we're setting the insurance when we initialize it to 5,000. So if we go back up to this one here and go tests O3, V, tab, when we run that, we're getting some outputs here, the car cost, getting the car cost, car insurance. And finally in variables O4, we're doing essentially the same thing, but we'll be kind of testing it in a slightly different way. So let's go into test O1 variables. Firstly, what we can do is when we're running our test, we can print out in the globals what's stored in the dictionary of the car. And we're doing a simple patching of the car cost. So what we do is we need to patch where it is called, not where it is defined. It's defined in variables O1, up top here. That's where it's defined, car.cost. So in our test, I'll make this O1 here. Let's close all the others down, close all the others. We're printing what's in the global so we can see what's on the page. And we're patching the car cost. So we do with patch, the name of the module, the class, the property, and we're setting its value to 5,000. Noticing how the car cost is actually normally 2,000. So when we print it out here, we'll get the value of the cost of the car as 5,000, not the original value. And we could put a test in here that the values are equal. So if we come to variables test O2, we're just really printing those values out. So what we can do is go into command, run that first test here. O1 foundations, 10, O1 section, O1 section fundamentals, press 10 tab, and then do test O1, run that. So what we get printed out now is the original. It's running the module, so it prints out the pyboxen. We can see now we're getting what's in the car on the global values. We can see the cost is actually 2,000 when it's imported in. But when we run our test, the cost of the car is actually 5,000 because we've patched it. And coming back here, we patched it to 5,000. So this is quite a nice way to actually, by getting the globals, you can see that what we're actually patching is this. But it's imported, where is it called? It's actually called from variables O3, because when we import variables O3 in our test, it's in variables O3 car.cost. That's where it's being called. That's where it's sort of, as opposed to where it's kind of the original definition. That's what it's actually invoking in. So if we go to test02 variables, we can do exactly the same. This time we've added the car cost. That'll give us the original value, because we're only patching in the car.getCost. And this thing about where a function is, where something is defined as opposed to called, we'll see that properly in 30, where we run this as a separate module, where these actually have everything split into more files. So we'll actually be able to see the difference. So for now, it's just basically the module, class, and then the attribute. So if we go and run test03, pardon me, let's do CLS and do Python -m pytest -vs 01 does a section, 10 does our patch, and we want test 03. Let's open that up. If you work through it, you'll again see the original values. The car cost 2,000, the get cost is 2,000. We set the insurance to 5,000. We can see the cost here in the globals. And when we go through these, when we're patching the car cost, we get our 5,000. That's how we patched it. And if we look at our tests here, we can sort of see the difference. So when we're doing test car, we're patching the get cost, but we're not patching the car cost. So we still get 2,000. With the insurance, we're patching that. So we get the 1,000, not the 5,000 that it was originally. And again, when we use the car.getInsurance, we get the value here because we're assigning a different return value. So that's in test04. Test03 is just one less. So if you take these and just work through them, because the idea is to play around and chop them up, break them and fix them to see where things are actually getting called. So perhaps this has not been such a helpful video to follow what's going on its own, but when you have these code samples, you'll be able to play around and actually check what's going on. And the most important thing is to know when you're patching, say, an object or a class, how you actually do that. And these are the templates for it. So the main one is in the next one, we're going to go into seeing more this idea about where things are called as opposed to where they're defined, with a very good example that I've picked up from the internet that splits it into multiple files. So it's a lot easier to see where these are referenced.